Welcome to Mindful Leadership, Transforming Lives, with your host, Singh. This is where leadership meets purpose, presence, and passion. In today's fast paced, high pressure world, we face a leadership crisis. Too often, teams are led by managers who lack empathy, clarity, and vision, leaving individuals uninspired, disconnected, and undervalued. But it doesn't have to be this way. Great leadership isn't born, it's built. The end game: empower your leadership, inspire the world. Every week, join me, your host Singh, as we tackle the gaps in leadership and life coaching head on, learning how mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and compassion can redefine success. This isn't just another podcast, it's a mission to fill the void left by ineffective leadership. And it's not just about leadership in business. Life coaching for leaders and new executives is at heart of this journey. Ready to rise above the noise and lead with clarity, purpose, and impact? Join a global movement dedicated to reshaping the future of leadership one mindful moment at a time. Let's begin.
Welcome back to another episode of Mindful Leadership Transforming Lives on the Transformation Network. I am Singh, your host, and today I will guide you to saving your team from spontaneous combustion. And by that, I mean burnout. So let's be real. Have you ever had a coworker who was crushing it one day, but then suddenly ghosted you? No replies, no emails, sick days stacking up like Jenga blocks, and they are somehow always on mute in meetings. That's burnout creeping in, folks. And the scary part, if you are not paying attention, you might be the one handing them the match. Burnout is kind of like cousin who comes up uninvited to Thanksgiving. You didn't ask for them, but suddenly they're eating up all the pie, hogging the gravy, and leaving your house looking like a tornado hit it. Except in this case, the house is your team's morale, and the pie, well, that's productivity. And spoiler alert, there's no leftover pie. Honestly, with everything going on right now, workplace layoffs, hybrid work exhaustion, and oh yeah, AI stealing jobs and writing our emails, burnout is knocking on everyone's door like a persistent Amazon delivery. Leaders, it's time to open that door, kick burnout to the curb, and take back control. Today, we are going to break down how to spot burnout before it sets your team on fire. And I'll share my restore framework, a foolproof method to lead with care, clarity, and results. Don't worry, we will keep it fun as always because if we can't laugh about stress, it's already won. Remember, well being isn't a perk, it's the foundation of any unstoppable team. And I am passionate about this restore framework because, on the record, I know there are at least three suicides that were prevented by using this framework at workplace. Okay, so let's dive into the heart of today's episode, my restore framework. Think of it as a Swiss Army knife for burnout proof leadership. It's got everything you need: simplicity, versatility, and unlike most corporate wellness programs, this actually works. And don't worry, you don't need a PhD in psychology to pull this off. This is a leadership of real humans who just want their teams to thrive and maybe stop sending Slack messages at 11 p.m. So let's break it down. The first step: recognizing the burnout warning signs. Well, burnout is sneaky. It's like the low battery warning on your phone. You can ignore it for a while, but eventually everything shuts down. And you're left staring at a blank screen, wondering what went wrong. Here's the thing: burnout doesn't always look like someone is crying in the break room or rage quitting on Zoom. It could be, when someone snaps at the coffee machine because there's no oatmeal, or suddenly someone's camera is off in every meeting. And then that person saying yes to everything while their to do list looks like a damn serious receipt. And let me tell you, the phrase I am fine, that is the biggest red flag in existence. If someone says they are fine, it is time to investigate because no one who actually fine says I am fine. They're either thriving or they're lying. Start asking your team simple, open ended question. How's your workload feeling this way? What's one thing that's draining your energy right now? And then, this is the key: Listen, listen to what they say. No interrupting, no fixing, no solutioning, just listening. Burnout starts whispering before it screams. So pay attention to those whispers. Step two, evaluate. Get to the root cause. Like I said, don't start solving while you're listening. But once you have recognized the signs, then it is time to play detective. Burnout is really just about too much work, it's about how we are working. Is someone drowning because priorities are not clear? Are they overworking because they're scared to disappoint you? Or are they secretly marathon watching Succession until 3 a.m. and blaming dog for their exhaustion? Now, here's the deal, your team is scared to disappoint you. And that's not a them problem, it's a you problem. Leadership isn't about being perfect or intimidating, it's about creating clarity, trust, and support. So, during your next one on one, ask this: what's one thing I can take off your plate this week? What's one thing you need to feel more supported? And no, more coffee doesn't count, even if that's your first instinct. Third step, simplify. That is the leadership magic bullet. Here's the fun fact: your team doesn't need more, they need less. See, burnout thrives in chaos, and simplifying is like kryptonite for stress. Cancel unnecessary meetings. Seriously, if you don't need a live discussion, make it a Slack thread. Rotate responsibilities. People need variety to stay engaged. And for the love of all that is holy, stop scheduling Zoom calls that could have been emails, unless it's really important. No one wants to see their face in HD for the 10th time that day. Take a hard look at your team's calendar this week. What's one reoccurring meeting you can cancel or shorten? Trust me, no one will miss it. In fact, they'll probably throw you a parade. Step four, talk. Build a culture of psychological safety. Let's talk about talking. Burnout loves silence. So the best way to fight is by creating a culture where people feel safe to speak up. And here's the kicker: vulnerability starts with you. If you want your team to open up, you have to go first. Share your own struggles. Like that time, I accidentally sent a team wide email and said attack instead of attach. Yeah, nothing says I'm totally fine, like a subject line that sounds like a war cry, right? When you admit you're human, your team feels like they can be human too. And that's where trust and safety starts. Now, at your next team meeting, share one small challenge you have faced recently and how you dealt with it. Bonus points if it's funny. Humor breaks the ice and builds connection. Step five, observe. Look for recovery signs. How do you know if your efforts are working? Look for simple signals. Are people smiling again? Are they taking PTO or are they holding vacation days like they are collecting NFTs? Has the tone in your team Slack changed, shifted from to yay? Emojis are excellent burnout barometers, by the way. Now, recovery isn't instant, but it's visible if you know what to look for. And when you see it, celebrate it. Recognize the wins, no matter how small. Now, take a moment this week to call out a specific positive change you have noticed in your team. Something like, hey, I noticed the energy in our meetings have been little lighter lately. Great job, everyone. It goes a long way. Trust me. Next step is reset, recalibrate expectations. Now, sometimes progress means slowing down. Let me say that again for people in the back. Slowing down is still progress. If your team looks like they're sprinting a marathon, it's time to reset. Adjust your KPIs, extend deadlines if you can, and remind your team that sustainable success beats short term heroics every time. You can't scale burnout, but you can scale sustainable, focused effort. Take 15 minutes next week to review your team's goals and ask yourself, are these realistic? Do they align with our priorities? And most importantly, do they leave for people to breathe? And the last step, let's take a dig at empowerment, building confidence and boundaries. A burnout proof team isn't just supported, it's confident. They know their boundaries, they know their workflow, and they trust you have got their back. So encourage your team to set boundaries. Reinforce that prioritizing well being in a strength, not a weakness. Because let's face it, burnout proof teams are unstoppable teams. So at your next check in, ask them, what's one boundary you would like to set this week to protect your energy? Then support them in sticking to it. No guilt, no judgment, just encouragement. So there you have Restore in all its glory. Basically, it's like putting on your leadership oxygen mask first, except this time, no one's yelling at you about airline safety or asking you packed 4 pairs of shoes for the weekend trip. Now, it's time to pause for something we all desperately need, a 2 minute burnout proofing exercise. And don't worry, this isn't the one of those light candle chant and find your spirit animal moments. No, this is practical, quick, and dare I say fun. Unless you're driving, then maybe just listen and try this later. I don't want to be responsible for a car yoga gone wrong. I'm serious. Okay, wherever you are, sit up straight. Unless you're already lying on the couch, in which case, congratulations, you're ahead of the game. Now, take one slow, deep breath in your nose, hold it, and let it out through your mouth. Now ask yourself one word. How am I feeling right now? Just one. It could be tired, okay. Or if you are me most days, hungry, whatever it is, no judgment. Next, ask yourself, what's one small thing I need right now? Maybe it's permission to pause. Maybe it's clarity on that email someone sent with subject line, quick question that was anything but quick. Or maybe it's just a snack. Seriously, snack solves 90% of the problem. Now, release the tension in your shoulders. Yes, I see you. You have been holding them up like a contestant on America's Next Top Model. Relax your jaw. Stop clenching your teeth like you're trying to win a jawline contest. Let your whole body recalibrate. There you go. That's it. You are not retreating. You're not retreating. You're recharging. And that, my friends, is leadership in action. And here's the fun part. I want you to share your one word burnout check in with me on social using hashtag restore with me. Let's make burnout proofing a team sport. Because if we can talk about fantasy football all day at work, we can definitely and we should definitely talk about how we are feeling and maybe even pick up a snack along the way. See how easy that was? 2 minutes and you're already a little more burnout proof. Okay, maybe 10% more. Hey, but progress is progress no matter how small. Now let's keep going and tackle the rest of this episode because we are just getting started. Yes. All right. It's time to roll up our sleeves and as always, get practical. We are not just going to talk about burnout proofing your team, we are doing it. You don't need to overhaul your entire leadership style or book a corporate retreat in Bali. No, let's be honest. Who doesn't want to go there? Now, these are quick, actionable steps you can take this week, yes, this week, to integrate the Restore framework into leadership. This is the simplest program that we teach every day in corporate leadership. So let's get started. Start your Monday meeting with a Restore check in. And here's the deal Monday meetings don't have to be soul crushing. Instead, diving straight into updates and KPIs, start with a Restore check in, one letter, and let's say recognize and ask your team, what is one thing that's been draining your energy lately? This simple question opens the door for honest conversations. And here's the kicker: don't jump straight into fix it mode, just listen. See, the reason I bring this is, remember, any mindful practice is about being observer, whether it is for self or for others. Now, last week, we're doing a coaching session, and a manager asked the question, and one of the team members spoke up about their 3 hour weekly report was taking so much time, it was eating into their actual work. Long story short, the manager scrapped the report and replaced it with 15 minutes Slack summary. Boom, stress reduced, productivity increased. See, kick off your next meeting with a question like, what's one thing we need to simplify this week? You will be amazed how much insight you get and how much lighter your team feels just being heard. Another big one: cancel one recurring meeting this week. Two-part conversation. First part, let's talk about the meetings, specifically the ones that could have been emails. The ones I'm talking about, the recurring meetings that show up on your calendar like a bad sequel to a movie no one asked for. So, another company I was working with, the leader canceled their team's weekly status update meeting and replaced it with a shared Google Doc. I'm not kidding. Team members updated it asynchronously, and suddenly they had 90 minutes of their lives back every week. That's 6 hours a month. That's like giving your team a Netflix marathon worth of free time back. And trust me, they will love you for it. So this week, pick up one reoccurring meeting, just one, and cancel it. Replace it with a focus block for your team to work on high priority tasks. Or dare I say it, recovery time. Yes, that's a real thing. Let people breathe. And no, no, no one's going to storm your office asking why you didn't make me sit through another PowerPoint. Now, I said this is two part when it comes to recurring meeting. I'll give you another power tool today. Three questions. Next time you have a meeting, ask these three simple questions to yourself and everybody in the meeting. The answers have to be short, less than 5 or 6 words. First question: what do I anticipate and expect at end of this conversation, individually and collectively? What is one thing that I want out of this meeting? Simple, write it down. Second question: if I was not here working on this to get to this result that I just wrote, who else could and should be doing instead? See, everybody has a play in the program, everybody has a play in the team. It does not mean that everybody has to do everything. So the question, once you have collectively and individually identified what you want at end of that meeting, collectively have that conversation. Who is the best person that should be solving it, or what could be solving it? The third question: if I was not doing this, what else I could be doing? And you will be amazed the kind of aha moments people have by three very simple questions. Now, third exercise: ask empathy driven questions in a one on one, guys. Uh, Believe it or not, one on ones are like the unsung heroes of leadership. They are your chance to connect, support, and most importantly, ask the right questions. Two very common game changers that I have leveraged over years. First, what's one thing I can take off your plate this week? Right this week. What is one thing I can take off your plate? Now, if you are leading in the right way, the question does not mean you're making that person a slacker. The question means that you want that person to be more productive. So, what is one thing you can take off of their plate so they can be more productive and doing something that is more meaningful, more valuable, more aligned to your priorities? Second question: is there anything draining your energy that I can help you shift or simplify? Now, we take our day to day life for granted, but sometimes we forget that even our processes that we have built over time to make our teams efficient can be draining. There is a very good example of how a team, when they implemented Jira, it was all fine. But 3 years down the road, nobody looked for 3 years, everything that they had added on. And the developers would spend hours and hours and hours just to keep the simple metric that our Jira board is up to date. But then they had to go through 10 different steps for one single statement that mattered. Now, the second one, um, I asked that question, and one of my top performers admitted they were overwhelmed on onboarding a new hire. See, when you are a small team or you have a, you have the best performer on a critical project, yes, you want your new people to be trained by the best performers because they get the most of it. But then when we took over the onboarding checklist for a week, they crushed their other deadlines because they weren't drowning anymore. Now, before your next one on one, jot down these two questions, ask them. And then this is the hard part, actually do something about what they tell you. Because nothing kills morale faster than asking for input and then ignoring it. Now, so there you have three simple ways to integrate restore in your leadership this week. Start your Monday meeting with a check in, cancel one on one or one recurring meeting that give your team back your time, and ask empathy driven questions in your one on one and act on the answers. Now, these are just tips. They're not tools to create a culture where your team feels seen, supported, and dare I say, excited to show up to work. And bonus, they'll probably stop muting you on Slack when you message them. Now, go lead burnout proof rock stars you are. And if you try one of these, hit me up on social and let me know how it went. Use hashtag restore with me because we are all in this together. Now, the big one: why burnout prevention drives results? So, we will talk numbers. I have to get geeky in a bit. Because let's face it, sometimes compassion alone doesn't get the job done, but ROI does, right? That will grab, that will really grab a CEO's attention faster than a quarterly bonus. And here's the deal: burnout isn't just a people problem, it is a business problem. And if you're not investing in your team's well being, you're basically leaving money and your best talent on the table. First off, a stat that should make you sit up straighter: companies that invest in mental health programs see a 4 times return on investment. That's not just feel good stat, it's cold, hard math. Let's zoom in. Teams that feel supported make fewer mistakes. Forget their oops, I forgot to attach the file emails. They're delivering faster, better results. Second big thing, retention skyrockets. People who feel valued aren't out. They are polishing their LinkedIn profiles during lunch breaks. They're actually having lunch at their table. One company I worked with introduced this mental health days and asynchronous Fridays, no meetings, just heads down work on recovery time. After 6 months, their their attrition dropped 25%. A quarter of the team stayed who might have left, and team satisfaction jumped 20%, which is basically the workplace equivalent of finding out someone brought donuts to the office. These are types of results that make CFOs do happy dance quietly in the office, of course. Think about it. What's one small change you can make this week to show up your team you care. Maybe it's as simple as canceling a meeting or encouraging people to actually use their PTO without guilt. Little changes, big impacts. Next big one, the ignoring burnout. That's expensive. Replacing a high performing employee can cost at least 1 times their salary. Productivity plummets when someone's at work but mentally checked out. And let's not forget right quitting. We have seen all that. Now, one of the smartest investments I have seen leaders make is figuring out what really drives their people. That's why we created Purpose Factor Assessment. It's a free tool that helps your team identify what energizes them and what drains them. But here's the thing, burnout happens when people are stuck doing work that's totally out of alignment with their strengths and passions. So, if you zoom in for a second, look at the workplace landscape right now. Hybrid work burnout is real. We have seen it. Layoffs have people constantly second guessing their job security. We are seeing it. And AI tools like ChatGPT are creeping into workflows, making everyone wonder, will I be replaced? Investing in your team's well being isn't just kindness, it's a competitive advantage. It's how you ensure your team stays engaged, creative, and ready to tackle whatever the next challenge is. Let's make this week you start investing in your team's well being. Try the purpose factor assessment, cancel a meeting, or just check in with your team. Trust me, ROI will speak for itself. And if you're really feeling ambitious, here's your secret weapon, the purpose factor assessment. It's a free tool that helps your team identify what energizes them and what drains them. So here's a challenge. Head to my website, grab the purpose factor assessment, and try it with your team. Then DM me on LinkedIn or tag me at Sing Leadership with which letter of restore you are starting this week. Remember, burnout proofing isn't just about being a good human. It's about building unstoppable teams. It starts with one small step, one letter, one conversation. So go make it happen. Your team and your sanity will thank you. You are listening to Sing on Mindful Leadership, Transforming Lives on the Transformation Network. I'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching Mindful Leadership Transforming Lives. Your host, Singh. We are honored to have you join us on this journey to explore the transformative power of mindfulness, emotional intelligence, and authentic leadership. Tune in every week on transformationtalkradio.com at noon Pacific on Tuesdays, where we will continue to explore how mindful leadership can create a ripple effect of positive changes in your life and lives of those you influence. This show is dedicated to helping you lead with purpose, presence, and passion. Whether you're navigating the complexities of business, building strong connection with your team, or striving to make a meaningful impact in the world around you. To learn more about the show, access additional resources, or dive deeper, visit singpowerupcoach.com. Remember, leadership isn't just about what you do, it's about who you are. Let's continue to transform lives together, one mindful moment at a time.